Another neat thing about tonight is that you realize that Oswego, while it was a normal school, is still a normal school, but it doesn't graduate just teachers anymore, and you find people from all kinds of professions. It's very interesting, too. And now for the presentation of the Alumni Association's highest honor, the Distinguished Alumnus Award. I'd like to ask Dr. Lewis O'Donnell to return to the podium on stage. And would Al Roker, class of '76, please stand for the reading of your citation? I know. Dr. O'Donnell and Al Roker have enjoyed a special relationship since they met early on in Al's career at Oswego. Al regards Dr. O'Donnell as one of his earliest mentors. I think it's right this time. Following the reading of the citation, Interim President Deborah Stanley will present Al with the oh dear. Would you believe I never did that before? The Distinguished Alumnus Plaque. I'm sorry to ruin it. I'm sorry. And here it is, so it's handy.
It's going to be very difficult for me to stand here straight-faced and read a presentation of an award for Al Roker. He and I have had a lot of laughs over a lot of years, but in trying to keep with the mood of the evening, let me be very straight in this presentation. Visible, versatile, vivacious. Al Roker, class of 1976, is America's preeminent television news and weatherman. His high-profile career and his philanthropic activities make him a logical choice to receive the Oswego Alumni 1997 Distinguished Alumnus Award. As television's most popular weathercaster, Al Roker is at once a famous star figure and an everyman, epitomizing the warmth and friendliness and the behavior of the guy next door, the guy you'd like to have as your neighbor. And as an aside, if any of you were around today while Al was being mobbed by people asking for autographs, asking for pictures, his cool through it all is just epitomizes his personality, his outgoing willingness to know, to like, and to understand people. His accomplishments over the last 2 decades are testament to a man who has used his natural gifts and talents not only to achieve amazing recognition, but to serve the common good. Arriving at Oswego State University with an already impressive history of creative success from his years at St. Francis Xavier High School in Manhattan, Al immediately demonstrated his predilection for the media when he signed on at the local radio stations of WSGO, WRVO, and WOCR, although he confided to me in his freshman year that he really wanted to be a cartoonist. As a sophomore, Al auditioned for a temporary weekend weatherman slot at WTVH-TV in Syracuse. Well, obviously he landed that job. And by the end of his junior year, Al was working full-time as a weekday weatherman, wheeling the highways between Oswego and Syracuse 5 days a week and continuing to pursue his college career and pursue his degree as well as his professional future. And I might add it as an aside that all the time he was doing this double duty, Al never shirked on his academic requirements. Al was one heck of a student. That's not in here. That's from me. The high energy, the strong work ethic that Al demonstrated as an undergraduate are integral parts of the qualities that are the secrets of his success today. After graduation, Al did a stint at WTTG-TV in Washington, D.C., and then moved on to Cleveland and spent 5 years at WKYC-TV, where he received the 1980 American Meteorological Society's prestigious seal of approval for his pioneering work with computer graphics in weathercasting. Then in 1983, Al returned to home. He came back to New York City, where he became employed by WNBC-TV. By 1987, he became a regular on Weekend Today on the network. And then in 1988, he resumed the role of substitute for Willard Scott on the Today Show. His immeasurable success with audiences, his personality, was underscored by recognition from New York Magazine, which twice has named him its Weatherman of the Year, and by his recognition as an Emmy Award-winning weather forecaster and television personality. Al was a natural choice to replace Willard Scott as weatherman and feature reporter on NBC Today Show in 1996. In addition to his daily appearances on Today, Al hosts an information quiz show, Remember When, or Remember This.
Remember something.
Yeah, remember something. It's either Remember This or Remember When. I can't remember. He's also president of Al Roker Productions, Incorporated, and works on special projects for both network and cable television, home video, and public television. He's a very busy man. A site on the World Wide Web showcases Al's talent as a cartoonist and humorist. It also provides site visitors with up-to-the-minute forecasts, travel tips, and trivia, at which he is an expert, by the way. Al recently launched Roker Wear, his own line of clothing and merchandise featuring his unique cartoon characters. And if any of you who were down at the bookstore today, you probably have seen some of the Roker Wear. Al is in very high demand for special events, including such things as the annual Rockefeller Center Christmas tree lighting ceremony, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, the Rose Bowl Parade, the Fiesta Bowl Parade, and others. And in addition to all of this, in addition to his numerous professional commitments, Al still finds time to make philanthropic donations. He supports organizations with his appearances and his leadership. He's been honored by civic and charitable groups for his contributions, including serving as Grand Marshal for the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation's Super Cities Walk, MC of the Retired Senior Volunteer Program Luncheons, co-chair of Westchester County's March of Dimes Super Cities Walk, and many, many more. Al's loyalty extends to his family as well as his alma mater. He credits his parents, Albert Lincoln Roker Sr. and Isabel Roker, whom I introduced a little while ago, with encouraging him to read, to articulate his thoughts, and to explore creative aspects of his own personality. He is devoted to his daughter, Courtney, and he honors as a colleague and life partner his wife, Deborah Roberts, whom I introduced earlier, ABC News correspondent for the News Magazine 2020. Al has maintained and strengthened his ties to Oswego throughout the years since his graduation. In fact, in 1992, he returned to campus as commencement speaker on the occasion of his brother Christopher's graduation. So we have two Rokers in the fold. In 1994, he served as honorary chairman of the Metro New York Oswego Alumni Club's first New York Cares Day. Many of you from the city will remember that. On countless occasions, Al has mentioned his alma mater, excuse me, on the air, even going so far this spring to recommend Oswego as a suitable school for America's first daughter, Chelsea Clinton. Unfortunately, she didn't take his advice, and she's the loser. So tonight, we celebrate the long and rich relationship that Oswego and Al Roker share as the Oswego Alumni Association bestows upon its most prominent national media alumnus its most prestigious award. Al, as your former professor, longtime friend, and ardent admirer, I am extremely privileged to present to you in recognition of your preeminent position in broadcasting, your status as a community citizen, and your many accomplishments that reflect so positively upon you and your alma mater, the 1997 Distinguished Alumnus Award.
I would have been much more honored by that standing ovation, because I know that all your butts are tired and you just wanted to get up and get some blood moving again. I want to, first of all, when I got this call, I was flabbergasted because I really don't really think so much of what I do as worthy of this kind of stuff. I'm on TV. I look at this list of award winners today, and although I do realize I share something in common with Dr. Halliday, I didn't realize he discovered an organic compound in the lab, and I discovered an organic compound in the lab. Unfortunately, I did it in the refrigerator of my dorm room, and we never really named it because it ran away before we could. I don't really have a degree in anthropology, but I have again realized I have dug up some very old things in the back of the fridge at Onondaga Hall, and which, by the way, has been quarantined now in honor of the class of '87. So. I realize that I also think that I did get this award as a distinguished alumnus because basically many of you can turn on every morning and say, geez, he looks like crap. You know? I look better than him. The gentleman from the class of '37 looks better than me. And my second thought was I really feel fortunate to have gone to Oswego State because I was able to meet a person who influenced my life greatly. Dr. Lewis O'Donnell is a man who has influenced almost all the communications students. I have credited him with this line, and it's a true story. We were in a radio production class, and we had to do some TV work. And I didn't present I had a beard and a mustache and mutton chops and overalls, and Lou's looking at the monitor. He gets over the PA system and he goes, "You know, Roker, you've got the perfect face for radio." And it's a true story. And I have always, I have friends who have gone to other communications departments in other schools, much more prestigious schools, which to me just means much more expensive schools. And the great thing about Lou O'Donnell, as Steve Levy had kind of alluded to, was that Lou O'Donnell kept us grounded in the real world. While other schools would promise you, oh, you know, we have this alumni and this one, and oh, yeah, you're going to be on the network. And Lou O'Donnell, the first day we were in his class, said, over half of you aren't going to get jobs in broadcasting, so you may as well get the hell out now. Well, gee, thanks. How fabulous. And he was right. But the great thing about our department, besides Lou and Fritz Masseri and Vince Duty and others, was that I feel like Johnny Carson every time he says a city. Somebody no more wine for that table over there. They were all people who worked in commercial television, unlike other schools where the teachers were basically theoreticians and book types. These guys worked in broadcasting and knew what it takes to make it in this business. And in spite of that, I still did get a job. But I also have to thank, as Lou has already done before me, I have to thank my mother and father, Al and Isabel Roker, because they nurtured this interest in media. My dad, he used to drive a bus. He drove a bus in Brooklyn. In fact, I am very fond of saying, I don't really work for a living, I do television. My dad worked for a living. And he brought home, when I was 10 years old, brought home a secondhand Bell & Howell 8mm movie camera, and kind of got me interested in it, and supported that, and then brought home a used 3M Wallensack reel-to-reel tape recorder. And I used to hound my mother because I would record episodes of like Superman and Huckleberry Hound and splice them together, and then bring this up to the kitchen and go, "Listen to this, Mom!" And she's like, "That's nice, dear." Oh, God. But she put up with it and nurtured it. And for that, I can never thank them enough. And the person who is my best critic and supporter is up to this day as Deborah Roberts of 2020, who When I do stuff out at the Today Show window, I tend to sometimes step over the line, sometimes with people who do goofy things like the Macarena with the Yankees ground crew or stuff like that, which I will not do here today. So, and yes, once again, the voice of reason, Lou O'Donnell. And I always know when not to go someplace to do something. I have what I call the Deborah cringe factor, because I know that she's at home watching going, oh God, don't do that. So I know when she's cringing, I know I've gone too far. This school is perhaps, to me, the greatest learning institution there is. Not because it has fabulous facilities, or not because it's one of the few schools in America where you would be pressed up against a building because of the wind, which was always kind of fun. It's like, who's going to get stuck now? Hey, look, we got a twofer! Not because of any of those things, but because of the accessibility and the outreach that every faculty member extended to their students. I don't care whether it's communications, anthropology, biology, whatever. Everybody felt they knew their professor, their teacher, their instructor, their faculty member. And it was that openness that they made you believe that you could do this, whether you could or not, but they made you believe that. And I don't think I could have gotten a better education if I had paid 2 or 3 times as much money. I believe pound for pound, dollar for dollar, this is the best institution of higher learning there is in this country. And while we might not have a great football team, we don't have a football team. While we don't have a football team, we have a great tradition here. And one of the things that always will stick in my mind is on a warm summer day, standing out on the lake shore and the sun is setting, smelling those moon eyes, just rock. That's just something that'll, for those of you who don't know what the moon eyes are, they're these tiny little fish that have no purpose in life other than to spawn and die and wash up on shore here. And if you haven't ever smelled it, folks, I got to tell you, it's kind of like jasmine coming over the Holy River. It's magic. But I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I've gotten a lot of awards and a lot of honors, but this is the pinnacle of what I have achieved, and I thank you very much for this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does it. The 1997 anniversary class dinner is about to come to a close. Thank you all for coming this weekend. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. And I'd like to give another special thanks to the 1997 Executive Reunion Committee for all of the effort that went into putting this, not only this affair, but this whole weekend together. It's really been an outstanding one. Now, we hope that after dinner, you will join us for the after-dinner party out in Sheldon Park. For those of you who don't know what Sheldon Park is, that's that little space between here and Culkin Hall. You know, that little lower area, that's called Sheldon Park now. It wasn't when I was here, but that's what they call it. And there'll also be the Warriors Alumni Reunion Party with Nick's Stereo Band, which is going to be taking place in timepieces down at the lower level. Now, will you please stand for the traditional singing of our alma maters? The words are on the back of your program. This is the only school in the country that I know that still has 2 alma maters. So we're going to sing them both tonight. First, we'll sing O Blue Ontario Waters, followed by Hail Oswego. And leading us on tape will be the 1994-1995 State Singers.
Sunset glow, but there
Thank you all, and good night.